Okay.
Oh, hi, everybody. I'm here with Claire, and I just wanted to interview Claire over the next few minutes about the Strengthsfinder Day, which we're organizing on July 22nd at the Gold Coast. And Claire and I were also seeing each other for the first time via this link, and we connected, I think, about 2 months ago, where Santoshi and I were extremely inspired by how doterra is implementing the Strengthsfinder test in the US, and we looked into it. We got a few personal coaching sessions with Jeremy Beckeisen and Jared Auger, and especially with Jeremy, I had a few talks, and eventually I felt like it's really good to bring this into Australia, and that's where the idea came. And so I asked Jeremy, who is also a gold leader, and some of you know, who presented about strengths in the convention at Utah last year, and also at leadership in California this year. And I asked him, so who would you recommend to show our community about strengths, and who could know also to integrate it in our network marketing system? And so he suggested Claire, and we talked to each other in May a few times, and we connected well, and we felt like, okay, let's go, let's do it. And so Claire, thank you so much for coming. I read that you are Regional Director of Learning Development Group in Asia Pacific, and you have a very talented team. So you actually have quite a big job at Gallup. And so I'm so happy that you take your time and answer my questions. And let's just dive into it, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the discussion and very much looking forward to the day on the 22nd of July.
Fantastic. Okay, so my first question to you is, can you please tell us something about yourself, who you are and what you're passionate in life?
Thank you. That's a great question. So, well, I'll tell you one thing about myself that will become more relevant to you as you do your own Strengthsfinder assessments, and certainly after the day together on the 22nd of July. My top 5 talents are activator, maximizer, communication, woo, and empathy. And so who am I and what does that mean to me? Well, it means that I'm somebody that's very quick to get started. I like to inspire action, and you can't hold me back from getting going. I'm someone that likes to always think about how we do things bigger and better and faster, and that's my maximizer and activator working together. I get a real buzz out of communicating ideas and thoughts, and so being in the presence of all of you in the room on the 22nd, and even this forum, really energizes me if I can help articulate strategy and thinking verbally as well. I have got woo. So for those of you that are not yet familiar with the language of strengths, or not yet fluent with language of strengths, that means winning others over. So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to win you over. But really what that means to me is I love meeting new people. I love breaking the ice. And I do have high empathy. So I instinctively feel on behalf of my clients, on behalf of the organizational leaders that I work with, and of course on behalf of my teams. So that might give you a little bit more of an insight into me and what is something that I'm passionate about in life. I'm passionate about the work that I do. So making a difference for others, bringing strengths-based concepts to every relationship that I have as a leader, as a manager, as a colleague, as a wife, as a mother. I really bring that strengths-based being to every human interaction that I have, which means so much and has really empowered me in such a huge way. And I believe a big part of why doors have opened and I've been successful in my own career, because I embody that strengths-based approach and I know my own strengths.
Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, you talk to my soul. I can't keep smiling. That's it's probably because you talk about some of my strengths as well, which are in my top 5 as well. Right. So I feel like I'm gelling quite well with you, and I think I'm getting excited about the day already, like the way you talk about your strengths. And I want our group to be able to do this and also use that in their daily life. So my second question is, for some, I think they might have booked this day just because of FOMO. You know, FOMO, fear of missing out. And they maybe don't even have a clue what they have been signing up for. So can you, in short, tell us what is Strengthsfinder and why is it so important in today's world?
Yeah, great question. So I'm going to keep this really simple because we'll go into a lot more detail on the day and some of the theory and the science behind it. But essentially, Strengthsfinder is like relational shorthand. It's a way to understand your own thoughts, feelings, and behavior and understand that of others. So the Strengthsfinder assessment measures the presence of talent. And talent are those natural recurring patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that can be productively applied. Basically, it tells us how we get things done, how we create influence, how we build relationships, and how we process ideas. And so it tells us that about ourselves, but it also tells us that about others, and it puts a language and a construct around that. So, I talked earlier about gaining fluency. Like learning any new language, you can get fluency in this and you can start to observe people's ways of being and doing. And so that's why I call it relational shorthand, because it allows you to kind of zero in on how to best have contact or connect with people. And so really important for us as leaders, really important as we inspire others, really important as we drive our own performance and bring our best self to our business.
Wow, thank you so much. That is like what comes up with me is now what I noticed, over the last few months. For me, the Strengthsfinder test, and that's my restorative talking, like the worry that you don't use it right, it's like can be used, let's say, like a tarot reading, astrology reading, very superficial and very much as labeling people. And this is for me the danger. And I can see like, well, I've got to learn more, I absorb more and see how my strengths are really coming through each day. And actually I started out in my mentoring to explain to my people, hey, did you notice this is my activator talking, or this is my restorative talking, or my strategic? And I do it partly so people understand me better, but also as an exercise that I will repeat it because it's quite a learning process, right?
Yes.
And anyway, so my next question to you is, Strengthsfinder is, as far as I know, mostly used in the corporate environment. And we got that feedback from the early adapters in the US of the Strengthsfinder. So why do you believe it has also value in our network marketing world?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so while we do have a lot of work that we undertake in the corporate world, in an organization, we do an enormous amount of work in the field of education, in healthcare, in other sectors. And one of the things I love so much about Strengthsfinder is that it really applies to everybody. So the work that we do in schools applies to students just as it does to faculty. The work that we do in an organization applies to leaders just as it does to the front line. And therefore it can be used in not only work but in life. And because it is that relational shorthand, there's an application really for every organization or every network. We use it in communities. We use it with cities. So we have cities that have adopted a strengths-based approach. So a strengths-based approach is not just a tool to drive performance, although it does that very, very well. It is actually that insight into your own self-awareness, like what you articulated for yourself, and how you relate to others. So for that reason, it is such a universal tool and can be applied in all aspects of life. And by the way, my husband's done his Strengthsfinder. My parents have done their Strengthsfinder. All my siblings, when my children are old enough, they will do it. It starts at 10. But I have read Strengths-Based Parenting, and I adopt talent spotting with my children. I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. So it really can apply right across the board. And I think most people will find that the insights that they gain about themselves, they'll then be able to apply that to all relationships and all applications in their life.
Wow, thank you so much, and that makes sense to me. And actually, Claire and we have talked just quickly before this interview, and I will send her some more material so she kind of like finds out more about like what our network marketing, especially in doTERRA, is like, and so she has a bit more detailed understanding about it, so she can apply the Strengthsfinder principles according to, let's say, our specific ranks and our job description in there. So I'm looking forward to that. So now for the day, what can we expect from the day? Will we do practical exercises in which we explore our strengths a bit more, and also how to use them in mentoring our builders and sharers?
Yeah, great. So what can we expect from the day? It's going to be quite moving. There's a real nice combination of personal insight and reflection, sharing activities, and very practical application. So everything that we do in the day, is designed that you can take this back to your network, and you can apply the same constructs and the same tools. So typically what we would do is a combination of concept, application, and then an exercise. And also it will be when you see this full room of everybody doing these activities and learning about themselves, you start to spot talent in others. And so not only will you learn about yourself, but you'll see how that works for other people and how they show up. So in terms of understanding people and that cognitive diversity and valuing other people's contribution, I think you'll get some real great insights for yourself and for others out of that session.
Awesome. So now Claire and I also, we both have activator on our first, as our first strength, and we just joked about it. There might be a new question popping out of me spontaneously, and she said to me, like, go for it. Okay, here it comes. Like, have you heard about Jeremy Breakeisen's wife's, I think it's Melanie, about, Melinda.
Yes.
Anchor to your strengths.
Right, yes.
So, do you think it would be a good idea that people maybe get this book first and also bring their oils according to their strengths with themselves, and we'll start anchoring and do some exercises around this, and also with the intention that we integrate it into a daily exercise to create a habit to kind of like focus on your strengths, and through the anchoring, as you know, when you smell, it reaches your limbic brain and in your unconscious, where you rewire yourself. Do you think that is something which we should recommend to people to buy this book, bring their oils according to your strengths, and start anchoring them?
I think that is definitely something that people could do, maybe post the session, or yes, we could find a way to integrate it. I haven't personally read the book. I've heard about it. I'll have to get myself a copy first. Certainly as a discussion point, absolutely, there would be a way to integrate that.
Oh, I'm just saying it because I'm always thinking forward in terms of now, if you learn something new and you want to create, especially if it's good for you, you want to create it as a habit, that you don't think about it, that it doesn't take effort, really, like, I have to do something about the strengths today, right? It just naturally integrates into your life. But in the beginning, I found it takes a lot of passion, consistency, insistency to break through until it is a habit.
A new habit.
And also we will break our old patterns, and there will be naturally unconscious resistance happening. And the resistance will be also emotionally, which is very strong often. So why not use the oils, which is basically what we're dealing with anyway.
Yeah.
So bringing that in. Anyway, so
love it.
Bring it. Maybe you prepare yourself. And if we don't talk specifically about it, I will definitely recommend it, because for me, my intention of the day, and I'll ask you about your intention in a second too. My intention for the day is it's not just like a standalone big experience where everybody's saying like, wow, that was fantastic. For me, I always look, my strategic, I look forward and say like, so I want to create some worth also for the future. So it's not always like a big entertainment, we're all a happy family, but I want to see something showing up in the future in terms of like measurable results, right? Where everybody's experienced like, wow, my mentoring has improved, my way of communicating has improved, and it actually shows up ultimately in the back office with better figures, and then eventually better ranking or whatever you want to achieve, right? Anyway, so my next question to you is, will we have time for question and answers?
Yes, absolutely. We'll integrate that throughout the whole day. So this is a day about you all. You know, I want to make it as much about you and make sure all those questions get answered. And there's lots of space for discussion, for challenge, for discussion, for all of those things.
Wonderful. So I'm getting more and more excited about the whole thing. All right, my last question is like that. I shared you my intention. What is your intention of the outcome of the Strengthsfinder Day?
Yeah, I love this question. So my intention is to meet your expectations of all of you, but really I think that the intention is that everybody has some new insights about themselves and has some new tools to take into their practice, into their leadership practice, the way they inspire and influence, the way they build relationships. So I really want this to be the start of a journey for everybody. And there's lots of ways you can take it forward, and we'll talk a lot about that on the day, and I'll give you lots of tools and tips and places and spaces to go. But really that it is a gift to yourself as well, to everybody around you, to know yourself better, to be able to self-manage, self-regulate, but also give other people the gift of being able to contribute using their strengths as well. So hopefully this is the start of a longer journey for you.
Thank you so much. I think that was a pretty good talk. I think you answered my questions very well. I'm happy. I'm feeling like super excited about the whole thing.
Great.
So we'll see. This is for us a little bit of a pioneering. We just like it's a trial whether this will work, and where I feel confident that you will do a great job and teaching us and inspiring us to use the strengths, and so we can all do our job a little bit better and have a happier life, because ultimately a little bit more joy and happier life, and things go more smoothly because you understand your talents and your strengths. Also one of for me my main intentions why I'm doing this, and out of that I feel like we will execute better and it will show up in our business. So thank you so much for being here, and looking forward to seeing you in 19 days.
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Okay.